Boy, it sure is a lovely day today. I think I'll go outside and get some fresh air.
Ah, nice to meet you, you lucky dinosaur. I'm Crash Bandicoot, and this is my long-lost cousin, Conker.
Well, it's gonna be interesting.
And also, these are all my friends. There's Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
Didn't he nearly kill you?
Winnie the Pooh and Friends,
Wait, what?
Mickey, Donald and Goofy, Timon and Pumbaa, the Genie, Thomas the Tank Engine, Pingu, Ronald McDonald, Joe Swanson, Baby Sinclair, King Kong,
1 hour later.
Barack Obama, and Jesus Christ.
Oh, and in case you didn't know, Lisa Simpson and Baby Sinclair are dating.
Nice to meet you.
Crossovers. They're a dime a dozen. In this beautiful world of entertainment where nothing can go wrong, crossovers have become a ubiquitous phenomenon, where elements from different genres, mediums, or franchises are intertwined to create an
This is my future?
It is if you don't get off those drugs.
experience. From music to movies to television to video games, crossovers are everywhere. If something generates enough revenue to push for the chances of two characters meeting for the first time, they'll bloody well do it. And I'm not referring to parodies where a show may include characters from a different property for the sake of a joke. I mean when two companies come together to genuinely bring their characters and universes into one world to interact in. And when it's done right, it's done right. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is more or less a crossover, with so many cartoon characters appearing on screen and interacting in places they would never interact before. On top of the film already being a masterpiece, the fact that it fills this void of wanting to see Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny meet on screen is so surreal. I'm amazed it even exists at all. Or how about in the realm of video games, like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games? I mean, okay, they're nothing but throwaway minigame collections, but they can be fun in their own right. But here's the funny thing about crossovers. They're usually not good. One of the biggest challenges is connecting the different characters, storylines, and worlds of their original franchises, and when those elements aren't carefully integrated, the result can feel disjointed and forced, almost to a point where you get the feeling one side of the creative team was more involved with it than the other. The Family Guy crossover with The Simpsons, for example, which relentlessly tosses characters into situations they weren't fit for, like having Homer Simpson perform a sexy car wash with Peter Griffin. You can tell it was written predominantly by the Family Guy staff, because these two shows, while similar in concept, are nothing alike in practice. So how do you think fan-made crossovers go out? Well, much like official ones, they can be very entertaining. YouTube poops are essentially a genre of crossovers that feature so many characters for the sake of a joke, and quite often get good chuckles out of me. My favourite being Fryers rubbing wood from Hour of Poop, which has so many characters in the background it more or less adds to the humour and surreal plot the actual video has. But there's one thing to keep in mind. That video had superb editing, because when you don't have that, and comply to all the negative traits of a crossover, you're left with one of the biggest mindfucks I've ever encountered on the internet: Pooh's Adventures. You may be thinking, what the hell is Pooh's Adventures? Well, to be more accurate, Pooh's Adventures is more or less a label for a series of fan-made crossovers that integrates characters from various media franchises, and either blends them together for an original series, or has them featured in movies like The Lion King or Aladdin, for instance. It all began when a user by the name of Tony WDA made animated crossovers, which were basically just characters dancing or reacting to certain events related to the video. Then another user known as Brer Daniel, and I almost read that as Bren Daniel, saw these crossovers and thought, hey, let's make a crossover series with these different movies starring Winnie the Pooh, which led to the creation of the appropriately named fan series Pooh's Adventures, beginning with Pooh's Adventures of Beauty and the Beast, which then led to this massive phenomenon of inserting as many characters as possible into whatever movie or even video game they can get their hands on. In theory, this idea isn't a bad one. Like I said, fan-made crossovers have existed for years now. But I'd like to think these aren't just the slightest bit insane. So I decided to do some digging and figure out just how many crossovers exist in this goddamn community by going to the wiki for it. Yes, there's an actual wiki for Pooh's Adventures, with over 77,000 pages. I'm scared. Aside from the obvious Pooh's Adventures, there's also stuff like Simba, Timon and Pumbaa's Adventures, Ash's Adventures, Alex's Adventures, Littlefoot's Adventures, Thomas's Adventures, Tino's Adventures, Sailor Moon Adventures. There's a few adventures. If you couldn't tell, and I wouldn't blame you if you couldn't, these projects are known to fry your brains. That's an awful lot of crossover series, isn't it? And then you stop and think, how many characters are they willing to shove into... No, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is just one of the many pages that plague the Pooh's Adventures wiki, which is really saying a lot given the stuff I've seen on this site, and I mean, look at how many characters can get shoved in. It disregards the rule of dedicating enough time to the characters you want to feature in a crossover, because when you've got almost 300 characters in your projects, you're gonna lose track. You know how one of my complaints with the Loud House movie was the lack of time spent on the titular family itself? Well, imagine failing to do it with almost 300 characters, and oftentimes what it results in is a pointlessly long introduction sequence where Pooh, or whoever the titular adventure is named after, goes on a tangent naming every single friend they can think of that's with them. Story-wise, the crossovers break more holes in the story than I can with a fucking Styx movie. Like, just imagine for a second. You meet a stuffed bear named Winnie the Pooh, he introduces his other stuffed friends, as well as a fast food mascot, a plethora of talking animals and monsters, a kid with a webcam named Riddell, 5 talking dinosaurs, a fat cat who won't stop showing up in my videos, 3 Pokemon trainers, underwater sea life who'd suffocate, whoever this is, a bunch of kaiju including motherfucking Godzilla, then your first response is, nice to meet you. That's so inaccurate. If I saw Godzilla, I'd be bowing to his majesty because he's awesome. Now, unfortunately, most of these well-known crossovers have since been taken down for copyright claims and are nearly impossible to find, bordering on lost media. Although I can say that Pooh's Adventures is mercifully canon to the Nickelodeon broadcasting universe. No, I'm not kidding. Here's proof. This isn't photoshopped. This is real. They're gonna drown. But I figured there was no better way of unraveling the insanity of this community than by checking out this lovely video titled The Very First Pooh's Adventures Cringe Compilation. Before I go on, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Most of the people a part of this community are on the autism spectrum or have some kind of mental disability. So any jokes I make at the expense of these projects are not meant in malice. I myself am on the autism spectrum, so I can't sit here and pretend I don't understand the appeal of these projects. I'm not making fun of anybody in the community, and I'm not trying to start a hate campaign. I don't want anyone watching this to go and harass or insult anyone I talk about. But, mental disability or not...
Oh, hi, Internet! I'm Tommy, what's up?
This needs to be seen to be believed. So without further ado, let's begin the video.
This is a glorious day for mankind.
More likely, this is a glorious day for trained people.
Okay, I'm already regretting my mistake. Now you may be thinking, who are these people? I can't remember the last time Winnie the Pooh was the toy of some kid with glasses. Now in some cases, these creators don't just insert fictional or real life characters into their projects, they also insert themselves. This is a tad unnerving, isn't it? Seeing most of these kids willingly put themselves on camera for a shitty crossover, likely unprepared for the community they're stepping into. I would say I feel sorry for them, but...
She cut out a big hole in front of the helmet so he can see better and cover him up in all of this reflective tape! Ah!
I think this project already rot their brains.
Well, now.
Say, why's the audio been cut off all of a sudden? What's with this jarring text on screen? Well, now that we're digging into the quality of the projects themselves, the first red flag that should be obvious to anyone is the editing. Now, I'm pretty sure most of these were done in Windows Movie Maker, and if you know anything about that program, you know it sucks. I can't complain, it was the first of its kind, and I used to use it for ages. Plus, it's free. Because most of the media taken has actual human dialogue, their usual way of filling the gaps is to completely mute the audio and replace it with text to give the illusion these are what they're actually saying, and then their lip movements are mismatched, so it's pretty fucking hard to get the immersion. So the first of many fabled introduction sequences coincidentally introduces a common practice used as an excuse for Pooh meeting other fictional bears, and that's that he's apparently their cousin. Baloo is his cousin, Little John is his cousin, apparently Poe is his cousin too. I guess I must have failed to see the logic in these these real bears being related to a stuffed animal. In fact, it's not just Pooh. Nearly every human character they meet is often regarded as a cousin of Christopher Robin, even though the adults have no relation at all. But the obvious question I have is, how many cousins does Christopher Robin have in this universe? And yes, most of these crossovers will begin with a pointlessly long exposition dump of Pooh introducing each and every single friend he has in his group at the time. You know the one with Richie Cunningham from Happy Days I showed earlier? That takes up a total of, I'm not kidding, 1 minute and 56 seconds. 1 minute and 56 seconds, which is far too long for Richie to not run in horror at the mere sight of Godzilla. Nah, he just says, "Nice to meet you."
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
Aha, yes, I should have mentioned earlier, but despite the preference of voice acting over subtitles, singing's a whole new beast. And speaking of beast, you know these particular crossovers with these lion characters and such? They were prominently made by a user known as Fantasy Films 2011, and I've got to admit, for being some dumb crossovers, they are probably the most bearable ones in this entire compilation. No, they're still not good.
Benny!
But because they put more effort into these projects with proper drawings, voice actors, and even voice-over characters they're interacting with, I do appreciate that some genuine effort can go into something that's a part of the Pooh's Adventures community. But that's still a small 5% of this 95% behemoth, so that's not exactly a compliment.
Gee, that was awkward.
You know what? Get out of here, you big gigantic elephant! No, not that. Fuck you, you goddamn.
Oh my god, Thomas! It's Thomas! I love Thomas! Great to see you, buddy. You look very unhealthy today, and why aren't you on any rails? And who the fuck are these people? Wait, what's that noise? What, Twilight Sparkle? Actually, I just realized we saw Mordecai earlier. Pooh's Adventures predicted the Mordecai and Twilight ship. I'm genuinely surprised this is animated. Drawing your OCs is one thing, but going above and beyond for actual animation, as bad as it looks, is commendable. Oh god, they're kissing! Look. Shipping was an inevitability, I get that. And to be fair, I'm not putting it down. I myself have done shipping before, plenty of times in my youth. But I'd like to think my ships make some coherent sense, because if I have to draw the line at a magical pony being in love with an anthropomorphic train, I think you can see the problem. Watching that nearly made me sick. I hope it doesn't get any more deranged than that. Alright then, I must politely ask, who signed off on this? I completely failed to see any comprehension between the idea of shipping that side character from the Clifford cartoon with a baby. Baby Godzilla, no less. She's gonna die from radiation poisoning. Although I will say, as abhorrent as this is, it also came with quite possibly the greatest line of the entire millennium. Let me tell you, moments like these are the reason why I can't even get unironically angry at Pooh's Adventures. Because it's hilarious! You should know that I'm a huge sucker for the most unbelievably awful content out there that's also relentlessly entertaining and funny. That's why I got a kick out of Food Fight, despite what some may tell me, and Pooh's Adventures very much knows how to tickle my funny bone in the best ways imaginable. I was almost gonna quit because of this shipping, but what came right afterwards was so funny that I couldn't stop because I knew that was just the beginning of the comedic genius of Pooh's Adventures. Unless we're watching kids derp around on screen and then it becomes the worst thing ever. Oh god, we're here. The Fantasia crossover. Look, unironically speaking, this is the worst kind of crossover you can think of. Imagine if they took those terrible celebrity cameos from Fantasia 2000, replaced them with Winnie the Pooh and his million counts of friends, and then slapped them into the original Fantasia who do nothing but abruptly kill the pace for more subtitles. Hooray!
You are so defensive. Were you...
What? What did she say? I couldn't hear a damn thing. Are you okay?
You don't feel blue.
Ah yes, my favorite kind of singing in a crossover. Eardrum assault. Oh Jesus, I didn't need to know there's a crossover with Jaws, with even more of Pooh's dumbass friends clogging up the poster, including a woolly mammoth. How will they fit on the boat? Actually, quick question. Is there a certain rule in this community against whether or not crossovers are allowed in mature films like this? Someone from the community please let me know. This is the only mystery in the Pooh's Adventures lore that intrigues me.
Alright, let's go. Wow. Oh, go.
Wow, I thought the subtitles were bad. This is a whole new beast. Glad to see the quality and effort that goes into your grade A crossover. All you need is a potato camera and the voice of someone who doesn't want to wake their parents and you're all set. Your career is futile when Winnie the Pooh's around.
Bunny Bear and Archie Boy are in trouble. We've gotta save them.
Why? He's right there. Mission complete. Oh, now Bowser's shown up. What are we gonna do, fellas? So I guess to add to the already Earth-like cast of characters, they also needed to add villains too, and Bowser in particular is the big main bad guy of the entire crossover series. Somehow the likes of Chernobog, a literal demon who controls spirits, will also bow down to Bowser. I don't understand the thought process here.
Let's see, we're doing a crossover with this movie right here, but we need a villain. Someone so evil they can have a demon bow down to them.
Make it Bowser.
What? Why?
Cause Bowser is evil and he do evil things.
Can't ever argue with you.
Bowser is not as evil as this community thinks he is. Yes, he's done a lot of bad things, and definitely quantifies as a villain, but I swear they love to build him up as this abominable monster who has every single fucking villain under his wing. And not only does he have a demon under his belt, he's also got a wife, Mistress 9 from Sailor Moon. But hey, I'll give Bowser some credit. He actually went after someone who's worth going after.
She's also my mom.
Now I'll never get the thought out of my mind that this beautiful evil spirit went down on that. I mean, okay, they do say that she's his stepmother, but you worded it wrong, guys. Wait, what's going on this time? What's with the sad-ass Kingdom Hearts music? Ooh, is something sad about to happen? You have got to be kidding me. Why the hell did you bring a real-world tragedy into your unforgettable Winnie the Pooh crossover? This is right up there with the singing killed my grandma scene from Trolls. Another instance where they want you to take it seriously, but it's f***ing Winnie the Pooh. And all joking aside, this is objectively offensive. It's insulting to people who actually suffered from the tragedy, or more accurately, people that are still suffering from the tragedy. It got such a negative backlash that the wiki itself considered it offensive and rightfully removed it from canon, which would be something I can praise the community for doing, but guess what? This wasn't the only time they brought it up. Honestly, I could stop right there, but why do that? I've got an hour left of this compilation to go. Can't wait!
You know what they say, all toasters toast.
You ruined a Hotel Mario meme. Screw you! Oh god, run for your lives, everybody. The trains are on the loose. They have guns. They've got guns. I don't know how they have guns, but they've got guns. And they're made of rectangles.
We are total genius.
Yeah, you sure f***ing are. Put that on the bio for the Pooh's Adventures wiki. Vanessa? Run.
Excuse me, but you're sitting on a thistle bush.
Kill you for this.
Shere Khan just murdered Eeyore. I repeat, Shere Khan just fucking murdered Eeyore. Remember what the wiki says. No R-rated content. At all. It's not allowed. Oh no, Anna's been frozen. That's so sad. Brian, what is Stewie saying that's so important that distracts you from a frozen death? Oh, and also, Family Guy characters! Remember, the Pooh's Adventures wiki says no R or NC-17 content is allowed.
Once upon a day, you were standing in the...
Honey, our neighbor's doing his waifu song covers again.
You mean like that red Yozzy guy who did one for Rosalina?
Yes. No.
The great K, the neutral.
And the Gargoyles are back.
Folks, we've officially peaked. You can't get any better than this. Now I know it sounds like at this point I've completely lost my mind, and you're wrong. I lost it when I started this but truthfully, the further I've gone down this Pooh's Adventures rabbit hole, the more I've embraced this abysmal hilarity it's provided so far. People can shout and complain all they want about how terrible these are, and I'll still agree with them, but just note that next time I need a good laugh, I'm watching this compilation again.
Oh boy, I love Halloween!
Yay! A crossover always brings out the best in each show!
More Family Guy characters, yeah!
We did it, Gilly!
Kill Rasputin.
Oh lord, they've made it. They made it to the Titanic. I'm so excited to say this, but now I finally have an excuse to compare Pooh's Adventures to Titanic The Legend Goes On. Which means, if we're lucky, we might get Pooh's Adventures of Titanic The Legend Goes On with the rapping dog. Bye bye, Goofy. I hope to see you in Kingdom Hearts 4. In the Titanic world. Oh my god, finally! Sonic OCs! I've been waiting for them to show up for so long. Let me tell you, as an active fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, you have no idea how much I've embraced the community that make OCs, so now we finally get the best of both the Sonic community and the Pooh's Adventures community, topped off with a horrific plane crash that kills everyone. No R-rated. As we're nearing the end of this wonderful compilation, we're about to enter some of the most absurd and out of place clips that we've yet to see from this community. Because as we all know, the timeline of this series dates so far back. There's no rules. It can go back to the time of the dinosaurs, to the time of the Titanic sinking, and to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I mean, I can tell it's from a different person, but it's brilliant.
Oh my gosh, pig power in the house!
He wasn't even trying. Now, for this next clip that's coming up, I'm not even going to comment on a single part of it apart from somewhere in the middle, because if you ask me, this perfectly sums up the complete madness of Pooh's Adventures. So without further ado, take it away.
What are you talking about?
Tigger, you need help. So how'd you find that? Was it peachy enough? Was it hilarious enough? Was it definitely not the worst thing you've ever seen? Well, if you did think that, you'll be pleased to know there's still one last thing to close this compilation on. And I like to call it Eardrums Assault Volume 2. And with that last screech from the heavens, we finally reach the end of this Pooh's Adventures cringe compilation. So as you can see, it's all been one giant disaster, and I know I can't be too hard on these since they are fan-made. There's no hesitation when I say these are some of the absolute worst fan-made crossovers I've ever seen, purely for the lack of any effort that goes into them. And when there is effort, it's either wasted on stealing jokes or very awkward acting. Aside from the ones with the lions and the beast, which even then is still rather painful in some areas, most of these are disasters, and I think I can get away with saying that all of them are being made for the sake of a crossover and nothing else. Given how broken the plots become once the crossovers actually begin, it's no wonder most of these ended up as bad as they were. I didn't even cover most of the clips in this video because most were either just kids with webcams and the lovely subtitles or stuff that I just didn't feel like talking about, or more accurately, stuff I tried to forget about. And that's ignoring the other painfully obvious stuff, like bringing in real-world tragedies into a fictional reality, the shipping, the subtitles made to replace actual dialogue, so I hope this video serves as a lesson as how not to do these crossovers. Honestly, I would have been happier if most of these were just written crossovers without any video footage to speak of, that way I could suspend my beliefs just a little bit, but if you're going to do it, I'd make sure to follow a few rules. Number 1, keep the cast small and simple. If you're gonna call it Pooh's Adventures, Adventures, make it about Pooh's adventures. Don't shove in as many random characters or self-inserts as possible. Keep it less cluttered. Number 2, remove the subtitles. Either try doing voice acting or, God forbid, even try using AI voice models. I know that'd be infringing on copyright, but you're already doing that by uploading these movies with these reaction clips anyway, so you might as well go all the way with it. Number 3, give your characters more impact on the plot. Simply having them react to whatever porno is in their way isn't gonna cut it. Tigger should not be standing by idly and letting someone be tortured, unless he gets a kick out of it. Number 4, no shipping. Unless it makes sense and can be plausible within the story itself, don't do it. Because if I have to draw the line at Twilight and Thomas or Baby Godzilla, the problem speaks for itself. Number 5, just don't. Like, at all. If anyone from the community is watching this video and decide to label it as an attack or bullying, please don't. I genuinely love these videos precisely for how awful they are. Call it a guilty pleasure, I call it true art. I didn't want to make this video to start a hate campaign or bully anybody that I showed off throughout. It was purely made for entertainment purposes and nothing else. And clearly these people enjoy doing them. And if you still do, then keep doing it. I'm not going to take that away from you. I love watching these. I want them to keep making these, just to see how funny they'll become. But until then, I've got a challenge for you, dear viewer. If you happen to be a part of the community, I'd like to present another idea that deserves to be turned into a reality. Pooh's Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Make it happen.